first ever Winter Solstice Special.
That's right. We will be traversing a witchy local Christmas market and baking honey lavender sugar cookies as part of our first ever episode of our cooking segment, Delicious Witch.
And we will be discussing the various witches and witch deities of the holiday season all around the world who do the same thing as a certain person up north, but maybe even a little better. We will also be watching 2 witchy holiday films and discussing La Befana Vien de Notte, or The Legend of the Christmas Witch, and Mother Krampus. Hey everyone!
Blessed Yule!
Blessed Solstice!
Merry Christmas!
Merry Christmas!
Observe.
Yeah,
blessed all of the winter holidays
Hanukkah,
that one could possibly
Diwali,
imagine. Exactly.
All of the Kwanzaa, whatever you celebrate.
Whatever you celebrate, we hope that you have a wonderful one.
And also blessed full moon.
Yes, blessed full moon to all of you watching and to both of us.
Yes, and to both of us. And to you.
And to you.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, well, first, cheers to that.
Cheers. Let's get this Heka-tea ready to be spelled.
Mm-hmm. So, this is our special holiday episode, and as promised, we do have some fun segments. We visit Crescent Moon Gifts here in Tacoma, Washington for their Winter Solstice gift market that happened today, actually.
Which was such a blast to go to. We do go every year, but I just always have more and more fun each time we go.
Yes, and it keeps getting busier and busier every year, which is amazing.
Exactly.
Made it a little hard to film, but we did what we could, so we'll have that for you guys. Yes. And also, our first segment, our first episode of Delicious Witch.
Yes. Our cooking segment that we are going to be periodically offering to you guys.
Yes, and as promised, it's great for gifting. It's great for ritual. It's also just a great dish to have all the time, and I am talking about my summertime warmth. I haven't really figured out the name, but it's like summertime warmth lavender lemon sugar cookies. They're very festive holiday. While also eating them, they make you very happy and feel like you are literally under a beautiful, warm summer sunshine in like the mid to late June when the flowers are still bloomed and beautiful and everything's green, and it's just, you guys will love it.
They're very delicious. I can attest. I tasted them.
Yes, and Back to Van was my sous chef, so you know she did great, and it's just. Again, we are going as we go, so we're working out our kinks, but you guys will love it.
You guys are just along for the ride.
Yes. Also in this episode, we are going to discuss Winter Solstice, Yule, Christmas, the Yuletide time celebrations all over the world and their pagan connections, which many of you I'm sure know, but it's always a good refresher course.
Exactly.
And there's also an exploration of the more unsung witches of the season and witch goddesses of the season who are still worshipped and honored in one way or another to this very day, but don't get the same recognition that, you know, Santa Claus, Sinterklaas, other male Krampus, other male deities and Jesus and other Christmas, winter, Yule centered deities and entities get attention for. So be ready for that. That'll be fun.
Is there literally any corner of the universe that's not a boys' club? That's what we want to know.
Really, seriously, like step off.
Step off.
We're gonna have some spellcraft suggestions that are perfect for the holiday season, and a little exploration of our now winter Yuletide themed altar for the show, as well as maybe a sneak peek at my Yule tree. So sit back, relax, enjoy. First things first, though, we need to get into headlines.
Yes, something a little dark.
Yes, so we're not going to list names. We're not going to mention names because it's really not important. It's not even the crux of the issue.
Right. The context of the story is really what we feel needs to be spoken about.
Yeah. So, a woman in Kentucky brutally murdered and gorily dismembered her mother, and was when she was arrested and found she had bits of her mom cooking on the stove. Really gory shit. And the headline was, you know, daughter dismembers, mother cooks her, for casting spells. Now, obviously, you're like, what the heck? You know, and it's clickbait. So, in the actual article, in the crux of the report, none of this comes from the daughter. The daughter, there's nothing stating that the daughter herself was like, I killed my mother and cooked her to cast spells. And no.
In fact, it came from a rumor from a neighbor, so not someone who was close to the center of what was actually going on, which really tells you how quickly a rumor can build into something so much more. Yeah.
And this was reported not on like the New York Post or Daily Global News. It was I think Fox News.
Fox News.
And then a couple other obviously legitimate news sites and local news sites, but all mainstream news sites. And all based on hearsay of a neighbor. Mm-hmm. But that's now how it's being propagandized, that this was about witchcraft and that the daughter was casting spells.
Right.
Sounds a little 1692 to me. So why is this headline news, aside from just the obvious witch related?
Right.
It's because this is going to be weaponized, and I guarantee you it will be. It will be weaponized by the Christian right-wing, Republican-led, Judeo-Christian nationalist movement that is now in complete control of our country. And as we said in our in episode 2, was it? Yeah.
It was, yeah.
The election episode. It's going to be more things on local levels like this that maybe then will get national headlines, but it's really things that are going to be happening on the local level that you guys have to watch out for.
Yeah.
And because this will, and like I said, the woman doesn't matter because she's a murderer. She murdered and dismembered her mother. Like, never get out of jail. Like, she needs 100%. To be locked up forever. Never see the light of day. It's how it's going to be used against witches, the witchcraft, pagan, occult, esoteric community.
Yeah.
And I think the difference between saying satanic ritual, like, you know, ritual murders, and specifically saying casting spells, that is a loaded, targeted, pointed, specific. This isn't just satanic panic, satanic ritual. This is witchcraft.
To witches and the casting spells, spellcraft, witches and their lives are being attacked.
Yes.
You know?
And so just be on the lookout, and, you know, we will continue to follow this case. If there's any merit, whether she does turn out to be a practicing witch, and she was doing some really dark magic coupled with clear mental illness or drug-related issues. Or she's just a psychopath and she was just sadistic, and you never know. And that has nothing to do with witches, witchcraft, the goddesses, deities, gods, anything like that.
That has more to do with the place that this one specific person was in.
Exactly. So, but we will continue to follow the case and how its developments and its influence, and if anything else, you know, comes of it. So in the case of that, watch this space.
Exactly. Stay safe, witches.
Stay safe, witches. Really, stay safe. And now,
With that being said,
get the gruesome news out of the way. That was it, by the way. Now we go into the astrology for the month. This is by no means complete. It is just what we've got going on right now. Just some things for you to keep an eye out, and things that maybe you have now, once we mention, will have noticed a pattern in the previous 2 weeks since the month has begun. Yeah. On December 1st, the new moon entered Sagittarius, and so that was all about clearing out baggage. And that is personal baggage you have with other people. We know in the previous month, November, everything was about, looking inward and then applying what we've discovered, finding what we've discovered. This is about getting rid of it. So finding all the things that you've discovered about yourself in the past couple of months. Things, issues, situations, dilemmas that have boiled and bubbled to the surface. It's time to deal with them in one way or another, whether confrontation or therapy or whatever it is, but it's about moving it on out.
Exactly. Or even just anything that you find that you've been holding on to or carrying for a long time that is no longer, I don't want to say serving you, but if you feel that it's bogging you down from being able to live your best life moving forward, it's time to wash your hands of it.
Exactly. And then December 6th, Mars enters retrograde until February. And a retrograde is just from the perspective of Earth, the planet appears to be going backwards, even though it's actually not, but it appears to be so. And when that happens, the energy, though, is still coming in through in a reversal kind of way.
Yeah, it can be, things can get, transmuted more easily.
Yes. And so Mars, now this is interesting. So Evan is an Aries sun.
I am.
And I'm an Aries moon and a Leo sun. So we
Yes.
both have Mars in us.
Me
and
too.
So Mars is all fiery, it's driven, it's productive. But in retrograde, you're still going to feel driven. Maybe you will have creative drive, maybe you do music, whatever, business, whatever. You're still going to be driven and feel productive. But you're not going to be able to focus it or pinpoint it any place.
Right.
Any one place. And therefore, you might be feeling and have been feeling since the 6th of December that you have so many ideas, and you know what, you
just want to do everything, but you can't settle on one thing to do first.
Exactly. So that's okay.
Exactly. That's okay. I think we're all feeling it.
If you have Mars anywhere in your sign, your houses, especially if you have them in your main sun, moon, rising, anticipate it, accept it. You'll write it out faster because if you've got Mars in your body at all, it's gonna really seriously fuck you up.
Yeah.
Also, my name being Marcus
Exactly.
derived from Mars, the god of war. Very funny. So then December 7th, Venus goes into Aquarius. Yes. So that's about connecting to friendships, whether friendships, relationships, with your partner, with your friends, family, and it's all about having fun in your relationships. So finding the lightheartedness. Maybe there's just been a lot of seriousness in your life. Maybe you and your friends have had some conflict issues. Maybe you and your spouse. Maybe it's just been a very serious time. Maybe just every time you hang out with your friends, it's more conversation, introspection, not a lot of letting your hair down and letting it all hang out. And maybe same in your relationship, your romantic relationship. So this is all about finally finding the fun and finding the friendships in your relationships again.
And just sort of rediscovering what it is that you love about that person, whether it's your best friend or it's your partner.
Family, doesn't matter. Coworkers, just whoever.
Exactly. It's all about, and this is actually kind of a great allegory for the holiday season too.
Yeah.
It's all about, that sort of familial and friendship coming together, banding through the dark times,
Exactly.
I think that it makes a lot of sense why this transit is coming about at the time that it is.
Let me wipe my disgusting face.
Right.
Well, exactly. And also on December 7th, Neptune becomes direct. So Neptune has been in retrograde. It's now becoming direct. It's now getting its shit out. And that means it's all about sorting out all the darker habits, guilt, issues, and bad habits that we all have inside, and figuring out how to make peace with them, how to cope with them, and how to let them go.
Yeah. And of course, just like any season change, you're going to have like a period of a couple of weeks after a retrograde ends where you will have what's called a shadow period, where you can still feel those effects, but you can also see that horizon clearing before you. So, you know, of course, we are all going to feel those effects during that time. But what's important to remember is that horizon is clearing. We can see our path, and things are going to get clearer and more easy to go forward after that point.
Exactly. So then December 15th, today. Whoa.
Today.
Obviously, there's a full moon, and the full moon is in Gemini tonight.
Yes.
So that's all about focusing on the smaller details to achieving your ultimate goals.
Mm-hmm.
So this is perfect for spellcraft.
Absolutely. I think it's good to have big goals, but I think it's hard to attain them if you don't have a blueprint for those goals.
Exactly. And sometimes we get so focused, especially when we're doing spell work, and especially when it's something we just want to attain as quickly as possible, to draw forth, to conjure, create, manifest, whatever goal at the end of the line we want to get to, whatever that is. So we will focus so much on just putting our spell work into the ultimate end goal instead of thinking about, okay, well, what are little steps between here and there that realistically you would have to still take to get there.
Exactly.
And focusing your magic on those littler steps and making sure that the little step is successful. So then you move on to the next little step and the next little step to get to the big one.
That's definitely something that I feel like I can really take to heart 100%.
Oh, for sure.
I am such a big picture person, and
me too.
It's probably something that drives Marcus crazy about me all the time. But I do tend to see the big like if I have a goal, it's typically something that is rather large. Not necessarily like anything grandiose, but like a big goal in my personal life.
Yeah.
I tend to really focus on that point Z and kind of gloss over B, C, D, E, F, G.
Right.
And
same. Same.
I know that I tend to do that, and I am sort of at this point right now in my life where I'm really trying actively to build those blueprints and to take those little steps that will lead to a big step.
Yeah.
And it's kind of a new situation for me. I haven't forced myself to take those little steps before, and it's a completely new world for me, and I actually really love it because I feel like I am putting myself into the best sense of preparation for my goal. And so I think that this transit is just really coming about at the right time for me, and I'm sure a lot of you out there feel the same way.
Oh yeah, and I myself, I am the same exact way. I will focus on point Z, and I'm a determined witch, so I'll get to it.
Yeah.
But honestly, I would expel less magic and less energy and feel not as wiped out or exhausted if I had actually thought about B, C, D, E, down the line to Z, and really focused on those smaller steps in achievement.
And I think it's good to have that point Z in your mind throughout all of those, but I do think it's really important to move through those little steps as well.
Yeah, 100%. So the full moon tonight is a good time to really put towards your spellcraft, towards manifesting the smaller steps that you need to do next. So think about what those are. You still got time. If you're watching this in the morning, you still got time. Think about what those steps are. What is it that you are trying to do? What is it that you are trying to achieve? And then in the end, and then what do those minimal, like, okay, if I were to achieve that, like, kind of how would that happen? Like, if I was just doing it all blood, sweat, and tears and no witchcraft, how added to it? Like, how would that be? And then go, okay, so yeah, I should probably do that next. So then now you know. So now focus your spellcraft on doing that and making sure that that is successful, and then obviously follow through. Because if you just sit on your butt and don't do anything, the spell's not going to happen. You still have to put the work in. You know, you want that job, you still have to go to the interview.
Right.
You still have to apply to it. You do the witchcraft, you apply, you'll get the job, but you still have to do the work. You still have to apply for it, you still have to go to the interview, you still have to show up.
Exactly.
All the witchcraft is guaranteeing is that you put the work in, the guarantee is that you're going to get it.
Yeah.
So, also, tonight Mercury is going into direct as well. So that's about having the conversations that have been needing to be had. So if you have had some conflict with people in your life, maybe there is something you need to tell a partner or a loved one, something bad, something big, something great, maybe just issues that you have with people in your life, someone in your life, and you need to discuss them in order to heal and move forward. And maybe because you haven't had those conversations, you guys aren't talking, or
Right.
you're not healing, or maybe it's stagnation. Well, now it's time to have those conversations, baby, and they will be constructive, and they will be positive. Now, that might mean that you part ways. Maybe that is what the positive outcome is, but it will end positively.
Yes.
This is the time for it to end positively. This is the time to deal with conversations and issues that need to be had in a way that will ensure a positive outcome.
Yes.
And then obviously December 21st is Winter Solstice, or Yule in the times. The sun enters Capricorn. So get all of your ducks in a row for the new year. That's it. Capricorn is all about making your lists and checking them twice.
Exactly.
And
all the Capricorns know if you're naughty or nice.
Exactly. And boy, will they let you know.
Oh,
that
they will.
Know.
They will let you know.
So make sure that you just, map out, take the time for Yule, solstice, whatever you want to call it. Figure out what is it that you want to achieve for the new year. Figure out your plans and steps, both practically and magically, to make those goals happen in the new year. And focus and direct your energy to that. Lastly, on December 31st, new moon, and the new moon is in Capricorn. So that's all about just cleanse.
Oh, yes.
Just clear out all
that energy from that past year.
Your house, just everything.
Your home, your heart.
Get it out.
Your life.
Get it out.
Just make sure that new rejuvenating energy can come through. Because if there's no room for anything new to take root and grow in your area, you're not getting anything but that old shit that you've been sitting in for a year.
Exactly. And nobody wants that.
Exactly. And on that note, my favorite lazy witch tip.
Oh, do tell.
Yes, I like to wash my floors with some Florida water or some blessed water, because frankly, it's better on my hardwoods, and I can clean and cleanse at the same time.
The more you know.
Exactly.
Shooting star.
I love it.
Perfect. And now with that out of the way, let's get into winter solstice, or Yule, or Yulin, or Christmas, or all the stuff. All the stuff. So really brief, Yule, or Christmas, as we know, and I'm sure most of you all know now in some form or another. But, just in case those watching don't know, we'll give a little brief history. Christmas, as we know it today, is made up of a few different pagan traditions that, of course, were then adopted by the Christians to ease with conversion. But, of course, these festivals and these celebrations reach further back in time. Yule, or Yulin as it's known, way back in the ancient pagan Nordic times of pre-Christian Norse countries, the solstice was a time of spirits and terrifying things, demons, darkness, things that go bump in the night. But also, Odin would ride from Valhalla, and with his long, scraggly white beard and his wizard-esqueness and his one eye, and on his steed would lead the wild hunt, which was, in some legends, just other nature spirits, or the spirits of those departed. In others, it was the spirits of the damned, or those who died in untimely ways. And they would traverse, doling out good fortune and ill to those judged by Odin. So children would often leave out offerings for Odin and for Odin's horse, and also would leave out gifts and give gifts to each other and to Odin, as a way to appease him. And in these situations, the offerings would be then first given to the head deity and then the subsequent deities. Then there would be ancestral offerings, oath offerings. All of this was done with wine, mead, etc. Gift giving is, like I said, is and has always been universal to all Yule and winter solstice celebrations, and this was no different even for the Vikings. And then, of course, in Rome, we have Saturnalia, with a week-long feast time at this time of winter to honor the god Saturn, who was in charge of fertility, or not fertility, in terms of agriculture, and was in charge of agriculture and abundance and prosperity. And during this time, there would also be one of the nights was called Juvenalia, and this was the celebration of the innocence of children. And then culminating December 24th, December 25th, with the birth of the sun god Mithra. And Mithra was the unconquerable sun, S-U-N. He was born of a virgin, was resurrected after 3 days, performed miracles, and this, of course, was then adopted and given to the Nazarene, whose name we all know.
Right.
And since there was no date of Christ's birth,
never specified.
Yeah, never specified, because that wasn't even the point. The point of Christianity was his death and the crucifixion. That was the point of his mythology and his cult, not the date of his birth. But they needed to convert people. And since the church was based in Rome, in the 4th century, the Emperor Constantine, upon seeing a blazing flaming cross in a vision on the battlefield, converted to Christianity right then and there, made Christianity the official religion of Rome. But other religions, the pagan faiths, were still able to prosper. But then in 380 AD, the Emperor Theodosius made Christianity the official one and only religion, and therefore outlawing all other practices and gods, and had all the temples and statues and altars destroyed, sacred wells, streams, forests destroyed, anything to the old ones, the originals, the OGs, the real, not the fakes, had them destroyed. Why? To erase it all, to try to bury the goddess, to bury the gods, the other goddesses, to bury the supreme, the motherfucking supreme. So, with that, in the 5th century, they officially met and made the official declaration, okay, Jesus was born on the 25th. Go destroy all the pagan temples.
Right.
Go destroy all of the altars, blah, blah, blah. But let them keep celebrating their traditions. Just put our churches, our idols, our symbols in their place, and just tell them, oh, well, it's always been this way. This is who you worship now. Or you were worshiping wrong, and now you're worshiping right. But your practice method of worship, your acts of worship were okay, just not who you were worshiping. Because they knew that if they just try to get rid of everything, then no one will convert. It wouldn't happen. And a lot of people didn't. The big myth, of course, is that Christianity stomped out paganism, stomped out polytheism, heathenism, because that is the original term for is a heathen. Pagan is, as we said, of the country, of the folk. That is something put on. Originally, it would be heathen. That was technically we're heathens. If you follow deities, multiple deities, if you're a polytheist pagan, you're a heathen. So they, that's the big myth that it was stomped out. It wasn't. There are still places in Northern Europe and South America that are still, all over the world that are still, heathen, pagan, polytheist, whatever as fuck. You know what I mean? Like, and are still openly celebratory of their history of witches and witchcraft in a positive way. Not in a, like Salem, like people were killed here way, but in a, we didn't actually kill any of our witches way. We actually love our witches. Like the Nordic lands especially have a lot of that. Like, so that's the big myth right there. So, it went from celebrating the unconquerable sun, S-U-N, to the unconquerable sun, S-O-N. And so from then on, it just amalgamated into different things. There was the spontaneity, party, jovial aspect of the Saturnalias, which of course were brought into Rome and brought into England, brought into Ireland by the Romans. And as a result, those more gloomy, darker, spooky winter solstice celebrations were then infused with more jovial aspects.
Yes.
And fast forward, here we are, you take Odin, mix him with St. Nicholas of Turkey,
Yes.
shake him in a canister with the Holly King and, other elementals of past, and dump them out and
you get Santa.
Get Santa Claus. So, that's where we are today.
Yes.
But we're not really here to talk about Santa.
No.
Because you all know this. And this is the whole point of this little backstory. Like I said, I'm sure a lot of you already know this. It's just to get to where we are.
Yeah.
Which is stuff that maybe you don't really know.
Right.
Which is that there are witches of Christmas, of Yuletide, of the holiday season. And I'm sure most of you are like, well, yeah, La Befana of Italy. Yes, but not the only one. So we thought we would focus on the solstice witches and witch deities that give out gift and punishment as well at this time of year. So, some of these witches, these witch figures, are fun, scary. I mean, they're all little, like any witch. Some they're both a little nice, a little spooky all at the same time. One of which being Frau Percha. And she is most known for the Germanic and Norse areas. And she is a witch goddess of nighttime, of winter, witchcraft, ghosts, spirits, all that. But it's said that during the solstice time, she comes and, like all gift givers and rewarders, she rewards the good children with gifts, with presents, with toys, blessings, etc. And the naughty children, the ones who've been bad, disobeyed, disrespected her, she would take them and either split their bellies open, or she would put them in a sack, take them back to her home in the cave in this mountain, and she would cook them and eat them. Now, I like that. Yeah. I don't know. I like that. It's just straight up a goddess. Yeah. Like, it's not even. It's like it's a witch goddess. Yes. It's not
like
a witch character, witch in the wood. It's actually the belief. Frau Percha is she's a witchy deity, and she's in this Santa Claus role. Yes. So that's awesome, gory but awesome.
Like all the best things in life.
Yeah. Now, La Befana of Italy, so many of you, I'm sure, she's the most known, really, the Christmas witch. And she appears in the crone form. She is your typical crone form, conical or cloaked hat, cape, cloak, black, flying on a broomstick, has a, black cat, all the things, instead of a sack, she's got a cauldron. And, she flies out on the 12th day of Christmas, or the eve of the 12th day of Christmas, of Advent. And she, same thing as Santa, she rewards the good children and she punishes the bad. Historically, and sometimes she, will beat them with her broomsticks, just give them spankings or whatever. Or, just give them coal, which is, more typical, I would say. And we'll get into her more later in terms of our movie review, actually. Has to do with her. So we have a 2-movie review because, it's the holiday special. Exactly. And she, La Befana is part of that. So, so the Christmas witch, La Befana, again, awesome. Now, there's a lot of aspects to her that, again, are just go back to the demonization of Heka-tea by the church, in all of her witch forms and her epithets and drag guises of witch queens and moon goddesses and huntresses. And, so you see a lot of that in the belief of La Befana. She was a good woman. She was already a witch, and she knew shit. And she ran in, as their legend has it, the three magi got lost on their way to Bethlehem, and they stopped and asked this La Befana for directions, and she gave them to them, gave the directions, and they invited her to come along, and she refused. Well, she apparently regretted it and set off on her own to find the Christ child's birth and to bring him gifts, and she got lost. But because of that, you know, she became this witch that now flies around and gives gifts because she got lost and wasn't able to give the gifts to him. So she gave them to the other children in the surrounding area.
And now she just flies around, continuing to do so every year.
Yep. And then goddesses like Freya, Bree,
Yes.
the Morrigan, Queridan, all these deities worshipped at this time who are not only who are often goddesses of life and death, time, witchcraft, but also prosperities, blessings. They have had their rule and their reign at this time. And we see a lot of that now in Santa Lucia, who Lucia or Luciana means the morning dawn, or the light, morning light, or morning dawn, something like that. And that is the same epithet as Heka-tea. And you just see a lot of, in these traditions, you see a lot of, again, when we do our Heka-tea episode, we'll get into her hopping around all over the fucking place since the beginning of time. But it just is more drag and adaptation of her figure into Christianity and into the Christian ethos. So it's really awesome. But on top of all of that, there's actually a very unique festival that takes place during this time. And I think you can tell us more about that.
I can. So what we are talking about is Modronit, which translates to Mother's Night. And Modronit was a Germanic and Norse winter solstice celebration. And basically it was all about the power of the pussy.
Awesome.
Yes. So it was all about celebrating women in a particular family, celebrating divine female energy. It was held on December 24th. And the reason that it was that day was because it was that exact, and we keep coming back to these threes, it was 3 days after the winter solstice celebrations. So it would be a time when women and just maternal figures of the clan in general were honored, as well as female ancestral spirits were honored as well. And these spirits were called Dizir, and they protected the home. They aided in prosperity for the land, fertility for the family. They protected women through childbirth. They protected men on the battlefield so that they could come home safely to that family clan and be together again. So that really this festival was the kickoff to the 12 days of Yule, being that it started on the 24th of December. So it would just be a time when the clan would get together, lots of generations of, grandmothers, mothers, daughters, just a time to celebrate the beauty of the female energy and influence, and something that they would do to honor this they would light candles, they'd bake breads and make soups together, they would pass songs down through the generations, and they would also begin sharing stories of different family women that they had found influential. And I just think that this festival is so cool. I would love to have grown up in that sort of an environment,
Right.
That would have just been so magical as a child for me.
You kind of did grow up surrounded by a bunch of women, witches, lesbian.
It's true, but
interesting nature-y.
Not in that same type of way.
Right. Not in that celebratory, more focused, religious, ritualistic, centered, communal.
Because with this festival, it's solemn, but it's familial as well.
Yeah.
And I just think it's interesting that, of course, so much of of pagan religion was co-opted when Christianity came around, like
Right.
we talked about. But it's just very interesting that this particular celebration, which was so deeply rooted in the feminine, became all about this Christ child, you know?
Yeah, and how it all comes about him.
Yes.
Um,
Anyway, so I think that this...
no offense to anyone
Oh, no.
who is Christian watching this. I mean, I don't know. I'm a witch. Being gay.
Yeah.
Christianity's been a dick to me. Offense, please take offense. Please take offense. Please. Actually, take offense.
Anyway, I just think this festival is fascinating. And
I agree.
It's just one of those traditions that I would love to see last through the ages more than it has, you know?
Well, not only that, but it's on Christmas Eve, right?
Yeah.
So if you're a modern witch, how do you, and you're like, okay, how can I do all this stuff? It's like how we talked about how to, like, alter your Thanksgiving
Right.
and start making it harvest home
Mm-hmm.
and make it pagan harvest, just to transform it into what it feastally originally rooted and was,
Right.
and what it inspired and was inspired by. This is in the same token, like Christmas Eve. Well, I'm celebrating Modronich.
Yeah,
Like,
exactly.
I'm celebrating Maiden Mother Crone.
Yes.
I'm celebrating the goddess and her triple form and her
Exactly.
wisdom. I am celebrating all that it means, the women in my life, the women who came before me. I mean,
The women who will come after me?
yeah, the women who will come after. Like, this is a perfect way to turn Christmas Eve into, yet again, being able to say, okay, this can be, once again, a spiritual night. Especially if maybe you come from a Christian, established Judeo-Christian family, and Christmas Eve is spent for you guys, typically was, like, going to church at night, and, you know, it was still kind of ritualistic and religious. But maybe that's not you anymore,
Yeah.
because you realized all that bullshit was bullshit. And you
Or
are
maybe
like,
you have religious trauma and you felt
Yeah.
like you had to take a step away from religion during this time of year. Well, here's a way that you don't.
exactly. Here's a way to once again be able to bring a esoteric, metaphysical, spiritual, religious, whatever have you, aspect to Christmas Eve that is not manufactured. This isn't like Gerald Gardner came up with
No.
this. No offense. But this is an actual ancient pagan celebration honoring the divine feminine and power in all its glory and forms. And maybe that is your trans mother. You know, maybe that is your, maybe you have maybe your father is now your
Your
second mother. Maybe your son is now your daughter, you know, or your best friend. Maybe, you know, it's just the divine feminine in all forms. It's also celebrating, the pride and the femininity of being gay. Like, like, for me, I'm like, I celebrate my effeminacy. I celebrate my queerness. I celebrate all of it. And that was touched and blessed by the goddess. And I can do that here.
Exactly.
And you can honor that on Christmas Eve in a way that's actually ancient and authentic.
Yes. Took the word out of my mouth. I was going to say authentic.
Oh, so thank you for
you're
that little
welcome.
bit of info.
Of course. It's my pleasure.
And with that said, let's actually go into kind of talking about what sometimes I find the hardest thing to set up, which is a Yule altar or a winter solstice altar. Because it's like, how do you not make it look gimmicky? Or it's just like,
that's true.
How do you make it significant in a way that signifies and exemplifies what it is, but also is still within the spirit of the season?
Yeah.
So I thought that a lot of people, you know, might think, oh, I need to really decorate and go crazy,
Right.
whatever. I thought we would show everybody now the, you know, our altar, how we have it set up for this season. And remember, as we said, it is a working altar for the show. It's also my dining table. But the altar does stay on the dining table, minus some things here or there. But what you're about to see, pretty much everything, is within it. So enjoy. Enjoy. So there you go. As you can see, not too complicated. It's fairly simple, but we really love it. And not only does it, work for us here and feel like the season, but just for my dining table scape, it's just beautiful.
It's a great tablescape. See, exactly. Lazy witch tips. We need to multitask in our witchery.
Exactly.
I am such a proponent of that.
Yes. Today was fun.
Yeah.
We checked out, Tacoma, where we live, Tacoma, Washington, used to back in the day have a lot of occult shops. Especially when I was a kid, there was a witchcraft shops that seemed like everywhere. Unfortunately,
not so much anymore.
But one of the ones that's still around and still cracking is Crescent Moon Gifts on 6th Avenue.
Yes.
Now, originally, they were in an older part of 6th Avenue which usually we'll say is like downtown 6th Avenue because it's closer to downtown and it's where a lot of the hip shops are and restaurants, bars, venues, and where back in the day, these occult shops were. Shout out to Franny's Magical Garden Forever.
I wish I could have been there.
Oh, she would have loved it.
I know.
The place smelled like her shitting parrot. That was annoying, but that's all right. And they were there for years and Crescent Moon Gifts had a location there down there, and they were there for years. And then I believe right before COVID, they finally moved locations and moved further up to Upper 6th Avenue, which is a lot more suburban. I don't know. Fast food, big grocery stores, Dollar Tree. Just it's an area. Yeah. But their places, the venue is awesome. It's huge.
Yeah. And they're doing great there.
Yeah, they're doing great. And every year they host a Winter Solstice magic market. And you can get your pictures taken with the Holly King and with Krampus and buy goods and support local vendors. And we went ahead and checked it out.
Yeah.
So we thought we'd bring you guys along. So check it out.
Exactly. Here you go.
So here we are at Crescent Moon Gifts at 6901 6th Avenue in Tacoma for their winter market.
Very exciting.
We come
all the holiday feels.
Yes, we come every year.
We do.
We get pictures with the Holly King and Krampus.
Of course, because you can't have one without the other.
No. So let's go inside and check out, talk with some of the vendors, see what's going on.
See what there is to be seen.
Hang out with Krampus, sit on his lap maybe. So come on, let's go.
Let's go.
So I'm obsessed with these decks. This is Christine.
We love all of these beautiful tarot candles.
They have a ton of wands. So that was our time at Crescent Moon Gifts. Sorry we couldn't show you more. It was super busy. But if you live in the area, support your local witchcraft shop, your local occult shop.
Definitely worth coming to check this out because they have some beautiful stuff in here.
Yeah, and no matter where you are, where you're watching this, support your local witchcraft shops. I know it's easy to get it off Amazon or whatever, but the metaphysical shop, the occult shop, they're worth preserving. So please support them.
And they need your business more than other small businesses.
Exactly. And we got our purchases, and we're super excited. And back to the show. So like we said, we wish we could have showed you guys more, but it was so crowded. And we will definitely go back on a not busy day and give you guys a real tour of the place, because it is huge, even bigger than what you could see from the outside, which probably wasn't a lot. And obviously not really what you can see on the inside.
But, you know, in a way, I'm glad almost that we weren't able to film a lot today, because that means that they're getting business, they're doing well, like they are getting foot traffic here in their door, and really that is what I love to see.
Yeah, and
like,
that's
we can
what
film
more can
another day,
for.
like you guys can come with us like on a day when it's dead, but it was really special to me to see them have such foot traffic on their big day today.
We didn't even get a chance to take pictures with Krampus or anything because the lines were so long. It just we're old. We just didn't have time for it. We were hungry. So yeah.
The grease was calling to us more than the Krampus was.
It was. So with that, let's talk about spellcraft.
Yeah.
We thought that in spirit of the season, we'd give you guys some spellcrafting suggestions that are aligned. I know a lot of people are like, oh, ritual suggestions, like ways to celebrate.
Right.
Spells. We're all here for some spells.
Exactly.
Again, we don't do spells on camera, so we're not going to actually do any spells, like, because it just, the energy that takes and focus isn't going to happen if you're too busy recording, and it just, you guys get it.
Right.
So what I love about this time of year, about Christmas, about Yule, Winter Solstice, the whole shebang, Shabbat, shaboom. No offense to any Jews for the Shabbat that I just said for some strange reason, because I say weird things weirdly. I'll shut up now. So I've always been obsessed ever since A Christmas Carol, all of it, ever since I was a child, little kid, about ghosts.
Me too.
We grew up, you know, in scary ghost stories. Yeah.
I can't think of the line, but
and we'll tell scary ghost stories.
Tales of the glories of Christmases long ago. That's it.
Yeah. Well, that's because of the fact that this has historically been a spooky time. Remember, the veil did not suddenly zip back up a couple days after. November 1st or 3rd or 5th, whatever. No, it's continued to get thinner and thinner, and spookier and spookier, and darker.
Exactly. And in fact, this season has historically been the darkest and thinnest time of the year.
Exactly.
It begins thinning at Samhain, and it wraps back up around Imbolc.
Exactly.
And this is that midpoint where we are at the darkest, the coldest, and the
most
thinnest,
dangerous.
And the most
the wild hunt is out. Like, take care, be warned. And in that respect, simple protection spell you can do to protect yourself and your home from the wild hunt.
Yes.
Now, does this mean that, like, oh, a bunch of spirits, entities are going to come and murder me? Maybe. But maybe not. But what it could mean is that maybe you haven't taken proper precautions and something drops in, sticks around, infests, whatever. You just don't want any lingerers.
No.
Whether they're human spirits or non-human spirits, you don't want anyone getting lost. You want them gone, be gone, don't come in, but go on your way. And it's a simple candle magic spell.
Yeah.
This is done in the Netherlands and in the Germanic and Nordic areas. And you just take a candle and put a candle in each window. Traditionally, it seems like if they have multi-panes, they have pane windows, they'll put a candle in each pane of glass. So, like in a sill, you might have 2 or 3, depending on how many panes in a row are in the window that they have. But one will do. But just put a candle in every window. And actually, this is when you walk by and you see people with their lit like electric candles in their windows, you know, that you see. That's why. That's what this is. That's what it stems from, is guiding spirits on their way and protecting you from roaming spirits. And on the night of the wild hunt, the winter solstice, is when the hunt is at its most feral, at its most hungry, at its most terrifying. Just like at Samhain, you light a jack-o'-lantern to guide the spirits along their way, or throw out marigolds to guide your loved ones back to you.
Right.
You want to make sure that the spirits can find their way and not get lost. and stuck at your home, but also you don't want them coming in. So just simple white candles, or you can even do black candles to banish and protect and bind. Now, granted, given the holiday season, maybe you aren't going to want to stick
a black
candle in your window, but
I mean, white is certainly more aesthetic for the season.
Right, it is. So it is aesthetically more fitting. But stick them in the window. Maybe you could do a black and a red, so the red you can charge for love and generate love towards them, a field of love and light. But you want to light that and just do whatever, however you want. You do spellcraft. I'm not gonna give you a spell. However you do you with a protection spell.
Right.
Just even if you don't, you're just all about charging and silently charging and creating and conjuring and manifesting without the use of spell work and spell tongues. Then that's what you do. So however you do it, but get those energies activated. As a witch, I'm gonna say this a lot. As a witch, your ability, if you just light a white candle without the whatever intention, or you light a red candle, green candle, whatever, and you're just lighting it, the magic of that candle is not automatically going to happen.
No.
You have to activate the power that is within it.
Right. You have to put forth your energy as a witch into that candle. Just
like any herb, any plant, any crystal, any gem, you have to use your magic, your witchcraft, to activate its powers inside. Otherwise, it's just going to be a crystal. It's just going to be rosemary. It's just going to be, black snake root. Right. Like, it's not going to do what, it's just going to be ground black pepper.
Right.
It's not going to turn into fucking a powerful fucking hexing spice that can kill people.
Right.
Which black pepper, charged and activated and done right, is one of the most effective ways to put a death hex on somebody. Not an endorsement. Just letting you know. But you have to activate it, otherwise it's just black pepper.
Right.
And no, I don't mean you activate it and then they eat it and then, come on now. Obviously, that's not what I mean. We know how to use herbs and stuff in spellcraft, but black pepper can be very, very potent, powerful, kick-ass in so many ways, good and bad. But it's just black pepper if you don't activate it. So activate your candles and their magic and their power and their symbolism and their fire, however you do. Put them in your window, and make sure you put them in all your windows and on the night of the solstice, and that will protect your home from any wandering, confused, malicious, whatever spirits, entities, earthly spirits, etc. How about you?
Oh, well, for me, what I really like to do is I will go outside, like if I live in a house. I currently don't, but when I did, I would go out to my yard. But now that I live in an apartment, I will just go out and sort of wander and look through the street, and I will pick up like any herbs or like pine needles that I find, twigs, anything just of that nature that fell from the trees that is local to the area.
Right, like an oak or like a pine tree.
Exactly. Just anything that is naturally there. It's of the earth that is around my environment. I will sort of gather up a little bundle and I'll bring that home. I will wrap that up in some twine that I have, because, as a witch, we just never...
Always have
it's
twine.
Coming out of our ears at this point. So I'll wrap that up, and I will hang that from a hook. Sometimes I'll make a couple of them. Hang it from a hook around my house, just, strategically placed, like, around my entryways, and just imbue that with, like, protective energies for the home. It usually also helps with, like, clearing out negative energy, around the space. So that's one I love.
And then how long do you leave that up for?
I usually leave that up for either 9 or 12 days.
Okay, cool. Okay.
Yeah. And this one isn't really a protective spell, but one I do enjoy doing around this time of year. I do enjoy doing a spell where you take a couple of bay leaves and you write like intentions or wishes for the coming year on them.
Yeah.
And you stick them in a pine cone. And obviously make sure that you have like a cauldron or something that's safe to burn something large in. But you stick that in the cauldron, you burn it, make sure that all of those, those those things that you've written have fallen into ashes. Everything's all burned down together. And then you take that ash and you collect it in another jar. And then whenever you're doing spellcraft over the coming year, you're sprinkling in some of those ashes of those wishes that you made at the beginning of the year.
Oh, I like that.
Yeah, I really love that. It just is, it makes me happy because, like, even, 6, 7, 8 months from now, you're still imbuing your life with, like, the energy of the things that you were excited about today.
Yes, yes.
So that's important, I think, is because sometimes we get bogged down in, day-to-day life and we lose focus on the things that are important to us.
Exactly.
And it does tend to be, those things tend to come through really strong in our hearts around this time of year, naturally.
Yes. And so there you have it. Couple spell ideas. Oh, another one would just be, excuse me, burning rosemary on the full moon. So tonight. So a simple thing to do at this time of year, rosemary being an evergreen that is ever prevalent. Of course, it looks so much like a pine tree, an evergreen, Christmas tree, fir tree. But, it's one of those versatile herbs that is for love, luck, health, prosperity. Simple thing you can do. And I like to do this in kind of a twofold way. I like to take a branch, charge it, just simple charge it with whatever your wishes for the new year that you want to see happen. Throw it in a fire. And then do a second one to send up wishes for those that you love who have gone before that you've missed or whatever, because they still got stuff going on in the afterlife and they need some money. They need some nice times, good well wishes. So I like to then send them a charge of well wishes through rosemary, and then I like to take a third one, and I like to do it for all the people in my life that I care about, love, whatever. And I just think about all the people that are nearest and dearest to me and think about good things, good blessing, good tidings for them and throw it in the fire. And there you go. And rosemary, of course, is edible.
Yes.
And the best kind of magic is magic you can eat.
Exactly.
So with that being said, no further ado, here is the first segment of Delicious Witch, where we will be making my summertime sunshine lavender lemon sugar cookies. So enjoy, and I hope you like eating them as much as we did.
Because we really did.
Hey everyone, and welcome to our first Delicious Witch. We are super excited.
We are.
We've been talking about it for
so long.
Since Samhain.
At least Samhain, probably before then.
Yeah, obviously before the episode, our first episode ever went up. But we've conceived and talked and wanted to do this for so long. So obviously for Yule, Winter Solstice, the holiday time, like what better time, season, Sabbath, celebration.
To cook off our cozy little cooking segment.
Exactly.
Kick off, not cook off, but I mean, both are correct.
Same thing. Same thing. So for our first segment of Delicious Witch, we are making a favorite recipe of mine. Very magical. This is kitchen witchery after all. So everything made has an intended purpose, charge, activation, and spellcraft. And these are my lavender summer lemon sugar cookies. I first created these Yule 2011. Amanda and I were traversing into the realm of maybe joining a coven.
Yes.
And
we brought those for our coven's Yule celebration.
Yeah.
It was the only time that we went to a celebration with the coven, but the cookies have enjoyed.
Yes, and the great thing about these cookies is they really do bring happiness, hope, luck, prosperity, fortune, protection, etc. But they also make you really, really, really freaking happy. The magic imbued in them is to make you feel and like when you bite into it, it doesn't just taste, but it feels like summer inside of you.
Yes.
And it just makes you happy and giddy and joyful. And that was the intended reaction, and is the intended reaction, and what happens every time people eat these cookies. So if you are wanting to chase away the winter gloom and darkness, or you're just dreading that family get-together for the holidays because everybody fights, and you just want people to be in a good mood, these cookies will put, they'll put everyone in a really great mood.
And what better to call upon the nicer weather to come
than
these summertime gleeful cookies.
Yeah, exactly. As we said, this is all about, even though it's the winter and it's the dark time, this is all about welcoming, returning,
Yes.
engaging, celebrating of the sun. And so cookies like these, they may taste a little bit like summer, but they're still perfect for the Yule Christmas time.
So Marcus, since this is your recipe after all, why don't you tell me and the class
Yeah.
all about the kitchen witchery that is involved in batter, including this cake mix that we have here.
You will need sea salt, white granulated sugar, French vanilla cake mix, lemon curd, 2 sticks softened butter at room temperature, vanilla bean extract or paste. I personally love this bourbon vanilla bean paste. Just get it from Trader Joe's, and it's just thick, rich, and delicious. 3 eggs. You'll want 2 whole eggs and 1 yolk. Mixing bowl for the dry ingredients, wet ingredients, and then combined. Flour, powder or icing sugar for your lavender icing later. Then, of course, the lavender. Otherwise, it wouldn't be sunshine lavender lemon sugar cookies without the lavender. Well, first and foremost, that is right. As you guys saw on the island, there is cake mix involved, French vanilla. Couple of reasons. First of all, I think a cookie should be fluffy and moist. I think especially with a sugar cookie, which can kind of just be the blandest of the people, they do it because they're like, oh, it's a blank canvas, we can just put frosting on it, whatever, make it taste whatever. There's a magical vanilla-ness of sugar cookie that really doesn't properly get celebrated. I'm a huge proponent for vanilla. One, I just love it. I just love the flavor.
You put it on everything.
Everything. I just love vanilla. I used to wear vanilla oil, scented oil, for like 15 years. That was like my signature scent. Excuse me.
It was.
And I just really love the ingredient. And sugar cookies are at basis a vanilla cookie.
Yeah.
And it just hasn't really gotten celebrated. And I feel like with cake mix, it helps give you a moister, fluffier cookie. But also, it is a little bit of a cheat.
Yeah.
Because it's already got the baking soda. It's got all like your ingredient mixes. Then all you have, and then all you have to kind of add to it is just kind of the ingredients that will take it from a cake to a cookie. So, excuse me. It is winter. Well, not officially winter yet, obviously.
Right. It's
getting there. 5 more days. As this is or 6 more days. As obviously we're watching this on the full moon on the 15th. But it's getting there. It's in the 40s, 30s at night. So the sniffles and stuff are happening.
Yes.
Also for other reasons.
We have fallen prey to them.
It's true. So, need a sip of the tea. Because, spelling the Heka-tea.
Exactly. We can't not have our tea.
Never not have it.
Marcus, what is your favorite type of tea to drink on a hot winter night?
Ooh.
Or a cold winter night, hot tea to drink.
Yes, no, I caught that. I would say, gosh, I'm always down for just a mint tea, like a Moroccan mint. I just love a Moroccan mint tea. I grew up with it. It's for me, background-wise, I would call it a heritage tea.
Yeah.
So I just have always loved it. That and chai tea. A nice chai, with just a splash of half and half, and just like a little bit of honey, not too much. Yeah, it just puts me in a happy place. What about you?
I love a good raspberry leaf tea.
Oh yes, you do. Anything right. You're all about raspberry.
I love the raspberries, but specifically the raspberry leaf, like not the one that comes from the berries, but from the leaves.
Yeah.
It just has this really nice flavor. You still get like a slight hint of that raspberry flavor, but it's more like earthy.
Yeah.
And so I find for me, I don't even need anything like in that tea because I like the flavor enough as it is.
Yeah.
It's kind of like almost like a blend between like a black tea and an herbal tea in flavor. I mean, I know it is obviously herbal, but as far as the flavor goes, like I feel like it bridges that gap, and I just cannot get enough of it.
So, I agree.
And jasmine tea. Any
jasmine tea is so good. I love the jasmine ones that bloom.
Yes. Oh my gosh. My mom got me this like jasmine tea pot for Christmas.
I remember that. Yes, I remember that one.
Oh my gosh,
so you can see through it, and it
And it unfortunately, my cat put an end to that teapot. She was like, nope.
She was like, goodbye, as they do.
As they do.
For their shits and giggles.
Right. But we got enough love out of it before she did that.
So supposedly, I have heard that a certain cookie franchise chain called Rumble Cookie. No, it's Crumble Cookie. I don't think I can get sued for saying it.
Right.
Allegedly.
It makes rumbles in your tummy. I don't know.
Well, but allegedly they do use cake mix But they try to pass off their batter as their own. I'm not hiding anything. Like, I come from the land, yes, I come from the school of Julia Child, and Wolfgang Puck, and Jacques Pepin, and Nancy Silverstone, and Ina and Martha, but also come from the school of Semi-Homemade with Sandra Lee and Rachel Ray's 30-minute meals.
Yes.
So I'm not ashamed of the fact that I use cake mix to enhance my cookies. I'm still doing shit, but you know, it just, not only, like I said, not only is it a nice shortcut, you still have to do a little more, like you have to add a little more extra flour. You have to add a little bit thing here and there to take it from just your cake mix that now it's a cookie batter.
Exactly. And I use jam to enhance my cake mixes.
Right, exactly. So,
we all got our thing.
Yeah, and so, but I also think it's flavored. It's French vanilla cake mix. There's pudding in the mix. So that's you're adding to the complexity and flavor of the cookie batter, and you're really enhancing the vanilla of it all. That's why I really, really advocate for vanilla bean paste, because it's got the liquidness that you need of an extract, but it's more concentrated. And it's got all those flecks of vanilla in it.
Looks like syrup.
I know. I want to show that to you guys. So there's all those flecks in there, just making it look real good, and it's really nice. And it's just, yeah, it's like magical vanilla syrup, and it just enhances everything. So get yourself some vanilla bean paste, but if you don't have it, vanilla extract, just do like, I would say honestly a whole tablespoon, because you want that real deep vanilla flavor going on, especially if you're going to be adding a shit ton of sugar to this whole situation.
Yeah, you really want it to permeate through everything.
Yeah, exactly. So the first thing that we're going to do, and Evan's going to be my sous chef.
Yes.
First, make sure that your oven is preheated. Make sure that it is already preloaded.
All your hatred towards your enemies. Set that shit to 375, baby.
Yeah. So, So 350. 350. Yeah, preheat your oven to 350, not preheat. And we're going to begin. So, the first thing we're going to do is we're going to take the cake mix.
The cake mix. If we can get the box of it.
Yeah.
Stand by for updates.
We're gonna put this in our medium-sized bowl for dry ingredients. Large for wet, but it's also gonna be the combo bowl, so combo bowl.
Oh, a large combo.
A large combo indeed.
Yeah.
So pop that open. Oh, wrong bowl. Hop. Also, obviously, we don't have like multiple angles happening, and we're gonna get there. Again, we're on a journey, and this is the first journey.
Out. Learning as we go.
Learning as we go. Learning as we go. Oh.
That's right. You sing everything.
We do. Like a tick happens. Like every just random the song. Yeah. It's all random. All right. So there's our French vanilla cake mix. The pudding's in the mix. Next, you're going to want to do a cup of flour.
Okay.
No, in here.
Just kidding.
Accidents happen, just like Julia Child.
Exactly.
No one will let us go. No one will never know. Perfection. Now, the one thing that we forgot to grab from the cupboard, baking powder. Excuse me. Van will entertain you.
Okay.
Keep it PG.
I don't know how to do PG, just kidding. I will entertain you while Marcus grabs whatever he's gonna grab.
A van, everybody!
No,
Wasn't that
I
amazing?
did.
She did it. She entertained all of you.
I'm just a magical, wonderful
Baking powder.
entity. That is how it is named.
Yes. Oh, also, the measuring spoons are over there. Excuse me.
Okie dokie doodle.
A teaspoon of baking powder to your dry ingredients. A teaspoon of salt. Actually, half a teaspoon of salt.
Don't want them to be tasting like, something that rhymes with Dollar Queen cookies.
Right. This be true indeed.
Exactly.
Okay. To this bowl. To your wet ingredient main mixing bowl. Oh yeah, so that's done on that. Oh, well not totally. I lied. So you're gonna take your lavender, and I'm just gonna use an electric coffee grinder, spice grinder, and you're gonna wanna take 2 tablespoons, actually 3. Keep it in 3s, it's just blessings and everything that way, made a mother crone, half present future, three ways, 3 Heka-tea, blah blah blah. You know the drill, witches, you know the drill. Alright, so we're gonna do 3 tablespoons of lavender, then grind it up. You can do this in a pestle and mortar. Again, I'm using an electric spice grinder. If I can find it.
Right.
If I can find my spice grinder, then I would have a way. Then I do have a way.
I do. That's because you found your spice grinder. Very tough.
And I like to keep it coarse because I like the flecks of lavender in it.
Mm-hmm.
So just add that to your dry ingredients.
Yeah, that smells good.
Right. Oh. Joy. Alright. Fold the lavender in with the rest of your dry ingredients. Oh, it really hits.
Oh, yeah.
In fact, you know what? I think I'm gonna put in a little more lavender. They really want that summer.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my goodness, you know?
Yes.
So we're gonna do 6. Again, keep it in multiples of 3. And I unplugged it, so
Right.
just ignore that, everybody.
Exactly.
Alright, in with your lavender.
Exactly.
There we go.
There we go.
I wish you guys could smell it.
I know.
So when you guys do, definitely do 6 tablespoons.
Yeah, pretty much not. It was almost there, but not quite enough.
Yeah. Okay. Now that that's been properly incorporated, we'll set that aside. And there's the batter, the dry ingredients. You can see all the flecks of lavender in there. Next, the wet ingredients. So set that aside. So this is about creaming things together. I know. So, in our main mixing bowl is where all our wet things are going, okay? So what we need to do is we're gonna do 2 whole eggs, okay? Well,
Okay.
first, before we do that, we're gonna take our softened butter, not melted, just but softened 2 sticks of butter. We're gonna get that in the bowl. Drop that in the trash.
Do the other one. Now it's a team effort.
Yeah.
All right.
Okay. Next, we're gonna do 1.25 cups of white sugar.
Okay.
If I can figure out how to open this. There we go. All right. Cup. Snow and 1/4 cup of sugar. So much sugar, but these are sugar cookies.
Yes.
Now, start creaming that together.
Alrighty.
So we're gonna start creaming that together. If you have an electric mixer, it makes it a lot easier. This butter is super, super soft. So it should incorporate fairly easily, especially once you add the eggs and the other liquid ingredients. It'll cream it all together very, very quickly. All right, so now when you've creamed your butter and sugar together, it should look like this. Ooh, buttery, sugary, delicious snow.
It's like a cloud.
Just want to eat all that fat.
Right.
Next, you're going to add your 3 eggs, 2 whole eggs, and an egg yolk. Okay.
Right.
So obviously you don't want to get your shells into the bowl. So you want to be careful when cracking. Go ahead, drop it in. Perfect. And then you're going to split the yolk from the white and then just add the yolk. And it looks like this. Just split it open. Very carefully hold it in your hand. Just get it out. Rock it from side to side. Just releasing all of the white. And then all you have is that beautiful sunny yolk. Bring it over. Drop it in with the rest of your creamy, sugary mixture. So next, you cream all that together. Just get that all mixed in. Usually I'm just kind of doing all this by myself, so it's nice to have a sous chef.
It's nice to learn your process, because now I know how to make them.
Exactly! I give that a good, rigorous, get it all incorporated until it's shiny and beautiful. Perfect. Next, we're going to add our tablespoon and a half of vanilla bean paste. This is a bourbon vanilla bean paste, because I'm that kind of girl.
Right. Ooh.
Yes, it's a lot of vanilla, but that's kind of the point.
Right.
There we go. So that's a tablespoon and a half of vanilla bean paste. Do 2 full tablespoons of its extract because it's not as potent. Okay. Next, you're going to add your tablespoon of lemon curd. You can make it a nice heaping tablespoon too. Make sure clean hands and fingers always. I'm a Leo, so I'm like a crackhead OCD. That's ableist. But I actually have OCD, so OCD tics, so I don't feel too terrible in saying that.
Right.
But it's still kind of ableist. It's not an OCD tick, but I do rigorously just constantly run the hot water. I'm not right now because we're running a video. But I'm usually just constantly running the hot water, running back and forth, and washing my hands repetitively. So always clean hands. Those are cook's best friends. Okay. So now comes incorporation. It's a lot easier if you are 2 people, because then you have one person doing one thing, one person doing another. If you have an electric hand mixer, hell, if you have a food processor, girl, cheat the food processor. All right, so I'm going to incorporate some of the dry ingredient into the wet and just fold as we go.
Okay.
Want to do just a little bit at a time. Oh, and you also want, I forgot, you want to add half a cup of vegetable oil. And the reason you're doing that is because the regular cake mix, it's half a cup or a quarter cup of vegetable oil, but we've added extra flour, so you want to add that extra quarter of vegetable oil.
Just to absorb all of that extra flour.
Exactly. Not because I want, heart attack city happening or something.
You do. This is your plan the entire time.
Happy holidays.
Right.
Blessed solstice, Yule, Saturnalia, Juvenalia. Marikite, I think is how it's pronounced. The night of Frau Parcha and Freya, I think it was, and yeah.
Is it Montasnock?
Yes, that's how you pronounce it. It's been a long day.
It has. Mario Kart.
Mario Kart. It was Mario Kart. All right, so we'll give that one final.
It's my hands off now.
Now, a lot of tradition with a little sugar cookie, you will roll the dough out, chill it, yada yada yada. I don't do that with the cake mix, especially. There's just a softness with it you want to get when it's just in that traditional cookie batter form, which also, by the way, will look like this. So it's gonna look like that, and you'll see all the flecks of vanilla and the lavender bits all in there. It tasted a little bit on my hand, and it's delicious. So next, you're gonna take your cookie sheet. You have a standard cookie sheet. A little worse for wear. That's all right. That's what parchment paper is for. Make sure that you are measured correct. Don't knock over, break a lamp. Make sure they're evenly spread out. I always like to rinse them off, even if they're clean. I like to rinse them off and then dry them with a towel, but kind of dry them liberally because then they're a little damp, and so then your parchment paper can better like stick to it and not curl up on you. And then it's just a matter of taking your tablespoon and doing a drop of cookie in a row down the aisle as big as you want them. Nice round teaspoonful. Teaspoon. All right. Always add a little bit more if you're like, oh, that's going to be a weak cookie. So that's what your dollops are going to look like when you're done. So they're going to go in an oven, 350 degrees. And then once they're in the oven, in the meantime, we are going to make our lavender lemon icing toppings. I can't speak. Right. It's been a long day. Don't hold it against us.
Exactly. Don't judge us.
Don't judge. No judging. Not the spirit. Not the spirit.
You all have done worse. I'm telling you that.
You did worse. Yes, exactly. You have food shame.
Exactly. And we're cooking for you, so we don't care.
Exactly. Now we're going to move on to the icing stage. And you'll need 3 ingredients. Milk. Well, 4 ingredients. Vanilla bean paste, lemon curd, your powdered sugar. And I lied. You need 5 ingredients. You also need more ground lavender, which we're also going to bless. And that is the magical key to all of it, is the spellcraft. Now, one thing, when it comes to your herbs, the magic in the herb isn't just going to work because it's going to work. You're a witch. You need to be a witch and activate the magic in whatever ingredient, herb, mineral, whatever item it is that you're using that is imbued with magic and spellcraft, you have to activate it. And that can be charging it, concentration, manifestations. I like a good spell, a nice old-fashioned, wonderful, witchy spell to get it all going.
Okay, so with that being said, let's get to it.
Let's get to it. So we're going to add your powdered sugar. We're icing a lot of cookies. This is like a cup of powdered sugar. It's in a pre-package from something else, but it's a cup of powdered sugar. I think it needs a knife, so we're going to get a sharp object to open this. Now, obviously, be careful with your sharp objects. But get your package of powdered sugar open. There you go. Dump that into the bowl. Super cute. And that has the oil in it. Okay, so then you're going to take a cup of milk. You gotta make sure you're always using a measuring cup. And you're gonna slowly pour that in and whisk. Because you don't want to make it too wet, too loose. There we go, stop right there. Okay. Oh, that's perfect. Go ahead and stir that up vigorously for me. You want to get that mixed really, really well. And then we're going to add our, where is it? You need your handy dandies at all times. I'm going to add 1/2 teaspoon of lemon curd. And then half a teaspoon of your vanilla bean paste. And don't get it everywhere like I just did.
That one is very easy to get.
And now the cookies are done.
Yay!
So step back, and we'll open this. Turn it off. I made them a little too big for the pan, but that's okay. I don't mind a deformed cookie.
Exactly.
I'll show you what they look like. As you can see, kind of misshapen, but that's all right.
We're
I
equal opportunity cookie lovers.
Yep, I just made them a little too big, so that's all right. I don't mind a deformed cookie. So while those are cooling, I'm gonna go ahead and get those lavender ground up, and then we're gonna do the spell. So I did about, in the coffee grinder, I just put about two tablespoons. Yeah, 2 tablespoons of lavender. But I did it in like a scoop of 3, but it was kind of loose. It all just equal out basically 2 tablespoons. Let's give it a little. Perfect. All right. Last, we put in the lavender.
Okay.
Then I'll go ahead and stir this. So I like to try to rhyme it. I like to kind of wing it. It is what it is. That's how it goes. So going clockwise, not counterclockwise, not Witter's center. I go clockwise because we're invoking, we're creating, we're invoking, we're drawing in, we're sending out this energy. So lavender and lemon haze. I stir within. I give with praise. To those I love, and to those I like, bring summer sun on the coldest night. Bring joy, peace, protection, and prosperity with every bite ingested within. Bring all good things. This I ask. Bring all good things. This I seek. Bring all good things by 3 times 3. There you go. Do whatever you want. The spell, it's just, I like to try to make it witchy rhyming. I could have written it out. I actually, every year I do a different one because I kind of like to go with what I'm feeling in the moment. And I put in that way it's just easier to put in my intention with the joy and happiness that you want people to feel inside. Now, again, lemon is one of those things that brings abundance, prosperity. It's also good at shutting people up. But it's really good about enhancing one's inner glow and light. It's symbolized by the sun. So it's just all these wonderful good things that come and represent summer and springtime and abundance and life and all the things you will eat in the cookies. So obviously you want your cookies to cool. I do not have a cooling rack. I did. But then I moved, and I think I left my really nice cooling racks behind in my old place.
Oh.
And instead of some maintenance returning it to me, I think they stole it. But I also think the person who did doesn't work for the management company anymore, so moot point.
Right.
So I just let them cool on their on the cookie sheet, and then once they're cooled, I like to then obviously glaze them, which we will do next.
Okay, so our beautiful cookies are out of the oven.
They are, and this is what they look like. We picked 2 of the more normal cookie of the cookie shapes, as you can see. Then there's our icing, and our tea, of course. So now we're gonna ice them. So this is really easy. You wanna get yourself a spoon, which for some reason I didn't grab. So advance and entertain me while I grab that from the drawer.
All right, well, sometimes we forget things like spoons or our minds, but we're just gonna allow ourselves some time to go collect those things and come back and everything will be joyful.
Joyful, joyful, sing hallelujah. Joyful, joyful, sing hallelujah.
Anyways.
Spoons found. All right.
Spoons found.
Give our icing a final little whisk just to make sure it's all still nice and loose.
Just like your morals.
Always like my morals. So I'm just gonna take a teaspoon, put it on, and you're then just gonna dollop that teaspoon on, and then in a circular motion, start working from the inside towards the outside of the cookie. You can add as much glaze as you would like or not like to it. Working in a clockwise direction, focusing on all of that happiness, joy, and warm summertime feelings that you can only get when you're standing in that warm, like late June sun when flowers are blooming everywhere and everything's emerald green, depending where you live. But here where we live, everything's emerald green, the flowers are blooming, and the air is just warm and delicious and fresh. And it's just that wonderful summer feeling that you can only get in the summertime.
Yes.
So just focus clockwise, putting in your icing, and imbuing all of that summertime goodness into your sugar cookie.
Which is funny that it does evoke that because I feel like the colors are so very like autumnal and wintry.
Yeah, it's an interesting dance.
Mm-hmm.
But in the end, this is what you end up with.
Yeah.
Now the reason you get that wintry kind of coloring is because of the purple, blue-gray hue of the lavender.
Yeah.
So it's perfect for winter. Visually, it's the perfect wintry sugar cookie.
Yeah.
And of course you can sprinkle it with what is it?
Demi-glace?
No, not demi-glace.
Oh.
It's like something sugar.
Oh, okay.
I
Well,
can't remember that. I mean, it's the sugar that doesn't melt and it browns and it stays crunchy and crispy.
Oh, I know what you're talking about, but I
Yeah.
can't think of the word either.
I almost said gremolata sugar, and it's not gremolata. So there you go.
We don't know. We couldn't know.
So now,
Anyways.
obviously, you want to let the icing sit a little, but it's really delicious, and why wait? So we're gonna each have our cookie,
Okay.
and yes, here's
Cheers.
summer at any time of the year. Yes.
Oh yeah, that's great.
It does taste like summer.
It really does.
It's good. It's good. So we hope that you enjoyed the first Delicious Witch segment, and now back to the show.
Exactly. Bye-bye.
Well, those were just scrumptious.
They were. I loved every second of them.
Yes, and we hope that you have just as much fun making them and enjoying eating them and all the benefits that come. And the batch makes a lot. Couple corrections. Oven times vary. I originally said 13 minutes. 11 minutes seems to be pretty good.
Mm-hmm.
Also, half a teaspoon, not a teaspoon, drops. And also do a cup and a half of flour, just to be on the safe side.
Yeah.
But regardless, they still were awesome.
They still came out
They
great.
just,
They
if you want that
tasted
more
wonderful.
fluffy dome situation,
Yeah.
you just want to do those tweaks.
Yeah.
And if you want that lighter golden color, so that's why I said 11 minutes is just fine, not the 13. But regardless, they're all delicious. So I hope you enjoy making them, and let us know what you think in the comments.
We would love to know what you feel like when you eat these cookies, because for us, when we eat them, we taste sunshine, we taste summer and happiness.
Mm-hmm.
I would love to know what they invoke for you.
Yeah, and definitely part of that is obviously, like I said, is activating the magical properties of the lavender,
Yes.
of the lemon, of sugar, of all the things,
All
of
the
the vanilla,
ingredients.
like all of them, and charge and invoke those ingredients. A lot of that was done beforehand off camera because, again, wasn't going to do all of that on camera.
Right.
The way you word the spell off the cuff doesn't really matter, especially if you've already done the pre-charging, pre-activation of the herbs, ingredients, etc. So make sure to do that, and as long as you do all that, yeah, as it says, food cooked with love. You taste the love.
Exactly. And without further ado, let's get into our movie reviews.
Yes, and obviously these are holiday-themed movie reviews,
Yes.
and they are witch-themed. One we absolutely loved.
Yes.
The
other we loved to hate.
Yes. Loved to hate. It's a great way to put it.
Yes.
The first one is La Befana Vien de Notte, or The Legend of the Christmas Witch. We loved this.
Absolutely we were mind blown by it.
Yeah, if you have Tubi, it's free on Tubi right now to watch. Obviously, kind of got to deal with commercials, but who cares?
Exactly.
It's pretty simple story. Again, the Christmas witch, La Befana, she delivers Christmas on the Advent on the 12th night. And during the daytime in this film, she is a teacher by day named Paola. And she's just that cute, whimsical, Amelie-esque type, tra-la-la, you know, teacher, Miss Honey from Matilda type teacher that all the kids love.
And then when darkness falls, she turns into La Befana.
Yes, and she is the classic Christmas witch. Her nose is so weirdly ridiculous, elongated, but then it's not pointy. It's like nub, like it's been like dulled. But she's got her conical hat, the big cape and cloak, her broom, besom, which has a mind of its own and can do its own thing, and it's just fun, whimsical. This was a theatrical release. This was a wide release film in Italy in 2018.
There's actually a second one now.
Yes.
Which we are very much trying hard to find a way to watch.
Yes, Monica Bellucci is in it, so we definitely want to see it for so many reasons. But because the first one was so great.
It was.
And so it opens up, and she gets startled by a dog, and she loses her Christmas list. And her address book, her little black book, and it's got all the addresses of all the children and what they wanted. And unfortunately, she ran out of time. By the time she got to finding the kid, it was too late. The sun came up, so she was going to turn back into Paola, and she was not able to deliver this boy Giuseppe's present. 25 years later, he is now Mr. Johnny, a toy maker, and with an axe to grind. And he kidnaps Paola. And centered around all this are her students, her well-meaning, well-intentioned kids who are just trying to save their teacher and save La Befana, the Christmas witch.
Yes. It is sometimes chilling, terrifying, heartwarming.
Yes.
It's all the things one could want in a Christmas movie.
Yeah, and even though, like, because it's Italian and it's, you know, it's not Santa Claus, it's not St. Nicholas, it's not your typical winter. Now, this is filmed in northern Italy, and there's parts of northern Italy that are closer to the Swiss Alps, and so they get snow.
Yes.
So it looks it's very wintry. So you get that. There's snow, it's very mountainous, but it's Italian.
Yeah.
And so you don't have all the same Christmas, holiday, whatever, iconography around, and yet, or even the same songs, of course, but it still feels like a Christmas holiday movie, just like all the other ones that you're used to.
In fact, we think we're going to watch this every year now.
Every year. Oh, yeah, it's perfect. So clearly we're giving this a full moon.
Yes, absolutely.
Next.
I'm here for the full moon. Anyway, so then the other one that we had the pleasure of watching.
Sure. Pleasure. We'll go with that. Pleasure.
Was Mother Krampus.
Yes, Mother Krampus.
Yes. So this is a tale about a witch who comes for the children of this particular town in England. Oddly, I'm not sure why it's set in England, but that's another question.
Yeah, it doesn't even make any sense.
Right, because it goes back to the legend of Frau Perkta.
Yes.
Who is not an English figure.
No.
So we were very confused as to why this was an English tale, but it is. So she's flying around. She abducts one child for each night of the 12 nights of Christmas in very gruesome ways.
Yes.
Lots of throat slashing with a candy cane. Hanging with the Christmas lights.
Yes. The typical, clearly inspired by Black Christmas type fare, Argento type fare.
Yes. And then there's another section of the movie that's, you know, about, you know, the family drama of one of the children that she's following. Yeah. And that's a whole other part of it. And
a lot of disjointed other parts.
You know, it doesn't blend into the horror in the way that, like, it should.
No.
You know?
And it doesn't feel Christmas holiday like it should either.
No. it's just movies like that where it's blending two different like factors together. I feel like it really has to have the right recipe to do it well, and this unfortunately just did not.
No.
You know, the dough on the Christmas bread did not rise with this one.
So in this village, you have the tale kind of centers around this woman named Molly, who is an accused witch. This film came out in like 2019, 2018, something like that. So 25 years before. So like 2000, like 2000s, like
if not early 2020s, it
right?
Could have been 2021. I'm not sure.
Yeah, and so late 90s, early 2000 is when this original sin scenario, because all horror movies, especially slashers, have the original sin, the thing that kicks off everything that comes later.
Right.
So this woman Molly, a kid in the town goes missing, or all these kids in the town go missing, and they pick.
Yes, it's a group of parents, and all of their kids go missing.
And one of them sets sight on Molly, who is supposedly a witch.
Right.
She's walking around in a cloak.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess, like, sure. I mean, Molly, I guess you shouldn't be walking around with a cloak. Like,
right.
So they just like,
so
it's
they
her.
just decide that she's the one that's killed all of their children, and they go and they string her up on a tree. Like, they lynch her.
Lynch her after they've cut her up, and they go and they disembowel her.
Yeah. But before they're cutting her up, she invokes Frau Perkta.
Yes, she invokes Frau Perkta, and then says that in the future, one day, Frau Perkta will come for all of your children.
Yes. So it's sort of set up as, you know, all of your lines, or your genetic lines, are going to be eradicated, but then one daughter gets to live. It's just
it's convoluted, and then it's Molly ends up turning into Frau Perkta, but they don't really explain how that happened.
Mm-hmm.
And again, this is in the English countryside, but we're talking about a Germanic, Nordic deity, Christmas witch deity, goddess figure.
So, you know, I see what it tried to do, but my opinion is that it fell flat.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I don't even know if I go back to watch it again.
Oh, I
definitely a new moon, like full vengeance of Heka-tea, eradicate it.
Exactly.
Leave it to the wild hunt. Oh, and that's the other thing. That made me think. So Heka-tea suppers every new moon, as we talked about in the previous episode, the Deepnon, however it is pronounced properly in the Greek. Sorry for butchering it. No offense again, please. But that's actually the wild hunt. She roams with demons and spirits and collects those who are passing on. And they say if you actually leave food offerings for the Heka-tea suppers on the new moon, that once you leave the food at the crossroads, wherever you leave the offering, to turn around and walk away, never looking back, because if you do, you will be cursed, hexed, whatever, by Heka-tea and by the wild hunt. I even do this in my own home when I leave offerings on my altar, food offerings on the altar. It's the last thing I will do, and I will leave the room where my altars are, and never look back at them until the next day. But again, we talk about the wild hunt, and again, there's Heka-tea. She's been leading the wild hunt for eons.
Exactly.
Just some good times, and the movies.
I mean, I will say, I'm so glad we watched Mother Krampus, because we got some, like, quotable lines that we can throw at each other for their next
for sure
80 years.
I will say, definitely, quick shout out to, and I say, a perfect holiday film, and this actually came out on Christmas Day. Bell, Book, and Candle.
Oh, yes.
Kim Novak,
Great movie.
Jimmy Stewart. He's kind of insufferable in the way that Jimmy Stewart's insufferable.
Right.
Now, why don't you listen, girl? But Kim Novak as Gillian is incredible. It just feels like the holidays. It's so campy and gay and beautiful and witchy, and it's so colorful and just psychedelic, and there's a lot of undertones, coded language, queer language, and it has fun with the witchcraft. Obviously, it is not in any way trying to take witchcraft seriously.
No.
By any way, shape, or form. But it's just strictly romantic comedy, fantasy, holiday cheer, but it's worth it.
Yeah.
It's great. It's
a great
fantastic.
movie.
It's a masterpiece, and it's just a great total full moon all the way around
Oh,
holiday
yes.
time. So definitely check it out. And I guess with that said, we hope that you enjoyed our first solstice Yule.
Holiday special.
Yeah.
A very Marcus and Yvan Yuletide treat.
We hope that you got some great ideas for your solstice spellcrafting and
Your Yule tablescape.
your Yule tablescape, even some altar ideas, and of course, making those sugar cookies.
Of course. You can't do anything without those sugar cookies.
No, you can't. So we hope that you enjoy and have a blessed Yule and rest of your holiday season. And we will see you on the new moon in the new year.
And remember, witches,
Broomsticks, not just for cleaning.